Hello everyone, and a grand welcome back to Fictional Face-Off, the show where we take your favorite fictional characters, analyze their stats across the board, and see who will win in the face-off to the finish. I'm your host extraordinaire, DW, and today I'm joined by my esteemed colleague and brother, Coco from Catholic Harbor.
You lie. Backstabbing. You said this show was over.
I did.
Then what is this?
I changed my mind.
Wow. Just wow. You know, I get to go home, get to perfect my chicken recipe. You pull me back into this freak show. At this point, I think I consider you my nemesis.
Fitting, considering the theme of this
he's
episode.
Still going!
Yes. Because across all of fiction, the battles between the hero and his arch-enemy is a tried and true tradition. From your Lex Luthors, your Darth Vaders, Megatrons, Skeletors, and Ganondorfs. Should a protagonist rise to vanquish evil, its head will always rise up to meet the challenge with maniacal laughter.
Like Dr. Doom, ruler of Latveria, an eternal rival to Reed Richards.
And Bowser, king of the Koopas and lifelong foil to the Mario Brothers.
Why is Patty here?
Because I know you'll try to escape. But anyway, these monarchs rule with iron fist and breath of flames, forever seeking power to crush their enemies and conquer all they see fit. Even if it has been about like 40 plus years.
But today we're putting them head to head. Will the merciless fist of doom crush Bowser once and for all? Or will the king of the Koopas bring Marvel's favorite villain finally to his knees?
That's what we'll be answering today. So without further ado, let's get styling and profiling. On to the stats. I'm excited.
I'm intrigued.
And I'm leaving!
A green cloak, gray mask, unchanging metal face, and an ego too big for comparison. These are the trademarks of Victor Von Doom, Emperor of Latveria, and threat to the entire Marvel multiverse.
Such grandiose, bravado, third personage. But such greatness was not born this way, as Doom's beginning wasn't in the majesty he sits in now, but rather in the gutter.
Born to the Romani sorcerer Cynthia Von Doom and a simple tribe leader named Werner, Victor's life wasn't off to the very best start. His mother was taken by Mephisto in a horrible fate, and his father was blamed by the Baron of his homeland for a death he did not cause. What little comfort Doom did have was stripped away as his father soon died afterwards, giving his life to protect the young boy from the harsh elements of an unforgiving mountainside.
And with that would be born a fire inside of him that rages on to this very day. A fire to ensure that his destiny would always be his own, to control and decide.
Returning to his people, Victor dedicated himself to becoming as capable as he possibly could. Combining his father's knowledge of science with his mother's mystic wisdom, he created brilliant machines and machinations to get his revenge on those who wronged him. However, he could only go so far on his own, and with that, Doom sought to grow his knowledge in a place most suitable for whatever goals he wished to accomplish.
Empire State University.
Winning a scholarship thanks to his great intellect, Victor studied in the United States and met the man who would forever be tangled in his life, whether he liked it or not, Reed Richards.
And for some reason, he did not like Reed. Like, instantly. As in, when he first found out that he was going to be roomies with him, Doom dropped that.
Probably because Reed was the first person to match his brain power, or because Doom was a genuine socio-psychopath. Indeed, because while an education was great, Victor had other plans for his time in America. In somewhat secrecy, he'd been building many machines, including his robot replicas called Doombots, and a machine capable of speaking to spirits of those long gone, like, for example, his dead mother.
And it turned out just as well as you might think it would have. Yeah, kids, when you're making a necropathy machine, make sure to check all the calculations, or else you might find yourself thrown out of your school with a scarred up face just like Victor. Well, I mean, it's not that bad.
Maybe not, but for Doom, it was too hideous to bear. Disappearing from the world, Doom traveled alone until he collapsed on the doorstep of a group of Tibetan monks, who kindly took him in and adopted Victor into their ways.
But Doom being Doom couldn't have it just like that. Instead of being humble about it, Doom mastered their teachings and then the monks themselves before deciding that the time had come at last. With the help of his new followers, he constructed a suit of powerful titanium armor to help him return to his home and reclaim it for himself, which he proceeded to don before it finished cooling. Geez, you don't have to be that theatrical about it. And you only had one small scar. can't speak much for it now, can you?
It was far more than just theatrics. Dr. Doom's power armor is one of the most advanced suits in all of Marvel. Despite looking a bit on the medieval side, the suit had a lot of stuff in it, such as energy gauntlets, force field generators, jet boosters, electricity shooters, and more. Heck, we'd be here all day if we told you all the technology threw into it, so here's just a list of the most ridiculous abilities he's ever put into this suit.
That is an understatement. Doom's got a molecular expander to turn tiny pebbles into ginormous boulders, the nerve scrambling ray that he can use to discombobulate his opponent's ability to move and function, a time travel device, and the cosmic power siphon, which can steal an opponent's energy to use for Doom, and Doom only. I think you got a winner there, Victor.
Indeed it was. Doom's armor is physically strong enough to crush diamonds and throw large rocks aside like styrofoam, durable enough to take large explosives from nuclear-grade weapons, and has enough life support systems on it to not only keep him alive, but able to fight should his body be unable to move correctly.
Holy smokes. If you think he needs to worry about losing that thing, haha, think again. Doom's built several countermeasures to ensure his suit stays right where it is. And even if someone somehow manages to steal it, he'll fight back to the point the person literally becomes Doom. What?
With this unstoppable piece of technology plus a legion of Doom bots just as strong, Victor easily returned to his homeland of Latveria and smote the Baron who ruined his life years ago. Through his own brilliance, Doom had claimed Latveria for his own and led it to the peak of prosperity it had ever known.
Must have been pretty big boost for his ego too, considering he then wanted to expand his rule. Where exactly? Where not? The dude just literally said, I did a pretty good job saving my home. Why don't I go do it to the rest of the world? Permission? Ah! Doom doesn't need permission.
And so he did, setting out through any means necessary to conquer the world and rule it as he saw fit, which of course went about as smooth as you'd think it would in a world full of superheroes. Yeah, Victor didn't make any new friends in his ventures to conquer the world. He's battled Iron Man, Thor, Black Panther, and more with varied results.
But none of them were as persistent at stopping him as the Fantastic Four, led by none other than Mr. Fantastic himself, Reed Richards. Yeah, I bet Victor wasn't really happy to see his stretchy mug back in his life again, especially when Reed started messing with all his master plans.
Doom and Reed would battle for years, trying to outdo each other in the hero versus villain war all rivals endure.
It was just like college all over again, although the world was sometimes at stakes. Yeah.
But yet for all this, Doom was up to the challenge. He can exchange blows and keep battle speeds with heroes like Captain America and Spider-Man, as withstood hits from heavy hitters like The Thing, Hulk, and the Sentry, and tank blasts from Iron Man, Cyclops, and even Celestials using his force fields.
The dude is like MC Hammer. He consistently kept with the Hulk at bay with his weaponry. He can resist Magneto's magnetism. He blocked one of Iron Man's repulsors with a sword strike. He caught Cap's shield and returned it with the perfect throw, and managed to paralyze Thor out with an electric shock. Heck, Thanos even blasted him with the Infinity Gauntlet, and he survived through it. Where does this all come from?
That would be his godly intellect at work. Like we mentioned before, Doom's genius is what's allowed him to pull off all these crazy stunts, and I'm not exaggerating when I say he's among the top 4 smartest beings in all the Marvel Universe. Victor's mind's been compared to supercomputers, and even Thanos keeps an eye on him for his own safety.
Probably for the reasons mentioned before. People just don't do stuff like that.
Well, Dr. Doom does. He reprogrammed Ultron to serve himself, rebuilt the Destroyer while also harnessing the Odin Force to power it, figured out the hidden magical secrets of vibranium unknown to even all of Wakanda, and harnessed every particle of it across the planet. And he used a piece of the Holy Cross to safeguard himself against mystic attacks. And heck, even you figure out how to use the power siphon to steal the energy of beings like the Silver Surfer, Galactus, one of the Watchers, and even the freaking Beyonder.
Wow. He's just a machine up there. Don't even think of trying to use his smarts for yourself either, as Doom can even resist telepathy. No prop, Emma Frost, the Purple Man, and even Red Skull with Professor X's mind powers. Jeez, he's basically doing magic at this point.
No, but yes, he can also use magic.
Oh yeah, I forgot he has one more insanely overpowered ability to his repertoire.
After failing numerous times using science, Doom decided the realm of the mystic arts would be the next key to victory, and he was pulling no stops to learn everything he could, from traveling across time and studying with masters of the past, even goes so far as to turn his former love Valeria into a suit of magical armor.
What the heck is this?
Doom does as he pleases.
Okay, moving on.
Doom strove and succeeded in becoming one of the most powerful sorcerers on Earth. He's actually a contender for Sorcerer Supreme, seconded only by Doctor Strange, who he's actually worked with once before.
Well, it paid off, as Doom's done all kinds of awesome stuff in the name of magic. He could summon monsters to his beck and call, summoned a blizzard to stop Johnny Storm's flames. He ensnared Doctor Strange and even Galactus in the crimson bands of Sidorak, and could even mess other people's powers.
Such as when he disabled the Fantastic Four's powers, drained the power of the sorcerer Saranda, who can control Mjolnir, and nullified a penance stare from Danny Ketch, the blue-flamed Ghost Rider. He even defeated him shortly before, which speaks volumes of how powerful the Ghost Riders are in general.
Jeez, what hasn't Doom done at this point?
Not much. He's been sent back in time twice and led to present day, held his physical body together with sheer willpower alone, stalemated Morgana Le Fay herself, stole the reality warping powers of the Scarlet Witch, and stood before the Panther deity Bast, who promised to kill him should he be found guilty of any ill intent. Turns out, he actually wasn't.
Say what? What do you mean he's not evil? He's Doctor Doom!
He is indeed not evil, just severely off course. The intent of good is there, but like we said, he only wants to conquer the world to make it a better place, even if it is a better place according to how he sees it.
But this is the same guy who, when his magic ritual plan failed and he was being dragged to the underworld, only made an attempt to scar Reed Richards' face before he was taken. Also, the whole story in general.
Yes, but he's also the same guy who ensures the children of his kingdom sleep well every night and saved Reed's unborn daughter from miscarrying before promising her he would always look after her like a guardian uncle. Don't get me wrong, he's not the type of guy you should be celebrating in the streets, but Doom is far more than just a booming villain with no regards for flatulence. His determination is stronger than most of the heroes he fights, and getting him to give up is a task that makes blowing up the sun seem easy.
Too bad it's also his weakness. Yeah, Doom's stubbornness combined with a healthy dose of arrogance makes it for a pretty rocky combo. Like, every time he gets these godlike powers, he loses them just as quick by throwing caution to the wind.
Such as when he lost all his vibranium magic when T'Challa neutralized it with a shadow physics bomb and took Galactus' power without knowing that he'd also be taking on the World Eater's massive hunger.
Yeah, he just shoots too high without looking too far. Bet he wouldn't make it on the basketball team.
And yet these failures have had little effect on his ambitions. Like when the entire Marvel multiverse was being destroyed by the Beyonders, it was Doom who spearheaded a resistance against them. And when the dust settled, he stood as God Emperor over all that was, finally having achieved his dream, a world of his image and making.
Until it was undone by a few ragtag superheroes, including Namor, T'Challa, and who else but that pesky Reed Richards. Wow, they are really foes forever, aren't they?
Yes, but in that moment, Doom finally cracked. In the heat of battle, facing Reed's unwavering determination, Doom forced himself to admit the truth about his old foe. He knew deep down that Reed was better and allowed himself to finally lose, and Reed reciprocated. In a gesture of goodwill and perhaps a desire to see it all finally end, Reed restored the world back to normal, with one lone exception.
He fixed his face?
Yep, and the consequence of their first clashing had been erased, and with it, so was Doom's ego. He thought long and hard about things, finally understanding that maybe, just maybe, he was doing something wrong.
And then what happened?
Well, he left Latveria, took the place of Iron Man after Captain Marvel killed him, and finally turned his great talents to good. At least for a while. You know how things are.
Yeah, I guess. It's just who he is. Then and now, good or bad, man or god. He is, like he always says, Doom.
The Mushroom Kingdom. For nearly 40 years, it's been an icon of video game history.
It's just an awesome place. I'd live there in a heartbeat. There's toads, cool worlds to hang out in, fungus and plants that grant superpowers, angry Goomba mobs, deadly spiked turtles that get thrown from the sky, evil suns who fly down after you, giant stone blocks that try to crush you when you get next to... Wait a minute! I changed my mind! No, this sounds like a horrible place to live! Who's responsible for this?
That would be the evil ruler of World 8, otherwise known as Bowser, the king of the Koopas.
Ah yes, the OG boss. Responsible for many an angry shout from all the 80s kids and beyond. Because, dang it, we didn't come all this way just to find out that you hid Peach in another castle! How did this turtle tyrant even get this way?
Well, allow me to enlighten you. Born as the orphan heir to the royal Koopa family, Bowser got an early start on the path to villainy. From no earlier than the time he was able to walk and speak, he was hatching evil schemes to cause misfortune to others.
Poor Yoshis and Peach. Guess that started young. Anyways, Bowser spent his formative years learning ways of despicableness, all leading to the day he grew old enough to become king himself and use his powers to take whatever his reptilian heart desired.
And what powers they were. Unlike many other Koopas making up the bulk of his forces, Bowser was a far bigger, badder beast who wasn't going down from a simple stomp of the head. He's strong enough to break solid stone with his blows, throw large objects like barrels, bricks, and spike steel balls like they're nothing, and can simply crush anything in his way too small to matter.
He's like a miniature Godzilla over here, complete with the trusty fire breath too. Perhaps the Koopa King's best natural tool. Bowser can harness his internal infernals to powerful effects. He can spit fireballs, shoot streams of fire, and hawk meteors like they're loogies. Wait, he has meteor and loogies?
I can't answer that. What I can answer, these flames were no joke. They can burn hot and melt through sturdy rock and stone, burn trees to ashes in seconds, and have enough force to destroy entire structures like ice castles can actually bend to Bowser's will.
He can order them to follow a target, split them into separate smaller fireballs, shoot a triple blast, create molten lava pools on the ground, and imbue himself and his minions with flames for more power. He can even charge up a shot for an extra fiery surprise.
He's also an adept user of black magic. Growing up under the care and mentorship of the Magi Koopa Kamek, Bowser is in no shortage of mystical mischief to befuddle his foes. He can materialize objects out of thin air, transmutate people into inanimate objects, use telekinesis to fly, and even return from the dead as a skeleton. Plus he can teleport. Heck, with enough mojo, he can also imprison and seal people away behind locks powerful enough to require power stars to break.
And those things have enough juice to take you across the universe if you use them right. With all this power at his fingertips, it wasn't long before the Koopa King set out to all the conquests he could ever dream of. And what better place to start than the Toadstool Dynasty?
And conquer he did, casting a spell to transform all the toads into bricks and such. Bowser kidnapped Princess Peach in a bid to marry her and legitimately to become ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom. All hope seemed lost until one day, a certain Italian plumber and his younger brother were called in somehow. Be it fate or coincidence, they were the kingdom's last hope against total domination.
But did they really stand a chance against all Bowser's army plus the Turtle Tyrant himself? What kinds of odds did they have? They'd never... Okay, actually they did. Wow. Yeah, they went all through the castles too. That kind of stinks for the big guy. But I'm sure they won't do it again. Okay. Well, I mean, third time's the charm, and it's not likely that. Okay. Hey, how come they keep winning? Bowser's the one putting in all the work.
Well, it's a long story, but probably owing to the fact that Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser himself were all Star Children. A group of 7 people born with special powers sent from the heavens, the Star Children were said to be in possession of great power. And that might explain why the Mario brothers and her were able to consistently thwart Bowser's plans.
Yeah, because it's not like he was making their battles easy. Bowser could easily match the speed and tenacity of the bros, keeping pace with them during fights. And do you see how many hammers he throws?
Considering the Marios have moved close to light speed, dodged an actual sun coming at them, and can react while a launch star sends them hurtling across the galaxy in seconds, I'd say that's pretty impressive.
He's literally out here doing backflips and high jumps. Float like a butterfly, sting like a torpedo!
True, especially considering how heavy he is. Bowser's about 1,600 pounds on my check.
Hey, it's 100% muscle weight. Except for this time. But that doesn't count. Look how fast he burned it off. He was literally on fire. Bowser's a true heavyweight in the ring and isn't afraid to let it show. He can body slam with enough force to double his own weight and break through multiple castle floors. He can bulldoze through multiple stone statues while curled into a ball. He also caught and returned a giant cannonball shot by Midbus, then threw it back with a similar force. He pushed an enormous drill to dig a tunnel for miles and pulled an entire freaking island to shore. Heck, even his sneezes are enough to propel this giant tower enough turbulence to rise it out of the lake.
Bowser is comparable to strength to Donkey Kong, who punched a moon larger than his own island down from space. While it's not as large as our own moon, which is about 81 quintillion tons in mass, it was still far wider than the island, which takes hours to cross even with blast barrels.
And what's even more impressive is that Bowser can take just about as much damage as he can give out. Eugene be darned. Bowser's the toughest of the tough around here. He's been crushed with his own castle, blown to Kingdom Come more times than hairs on your head, smashed across the land by a train, blasted with lethal volts of electricity, voluntarily had his insides frozen solid, and lived through a supernova going off in his face!
Well, not only that, but he was also pulled into the black hole that the supernova caused afterwards. And then the subsequent restarting the universe that it set into motion. Yeah, Bowser's just that tough. And that's just when he's in normal size.
Yeah, don't think we've forgotten about this. Either through magic, creepy black ooze, or some weird thing in his body, Bowser's gained the ability to grow into a giant during battle. And we don't just mean like a little bit bigger. We're talking huge butt kaiju size.
And with that size upgrade came some major buffs in his stats. He can toss large buildings like his and Peach's castle around like nothing, destroy entire fleets of airships in a single fire breath, pull himself out of miniature black holes, punch meteors lodged in small planetoids out of gravity, and then take hits from those meteors straight to the face without any visible harm.
Oh, and don't think this slows him down either. He can still punch fast enough to create after images.
But yet even this hardly led Bowser to victory against his foes. After so many losses, Bowser resorted to the next big thing.
Cheating! Because he basically does. What else do you call stealing enough power stars and grand stars that space goddess Rosalina can't do anything? Cheating! He swiped enough of them from her that he was going to create his own master galaxy in the center of the Mario universe, which is what backfired and blew up in his face to force a Big Bang.
But even this was hardly enough, as the Power Stars only went so far. Bowser's exploits to gain power led him to acquire several artifacts of near omnipotence, which he's used to menace the Mushroom Kingdom time and time again.
The Star Rod granted him the ability to materialize any wish he wanted, and when he got a hold of the Dreamstone, he was able to harness the power of everyone's dreams. Yeah, I know it sounds derpy, but trust me, this is Mario.
Right, because those dreams were actually a portal to a potential multiverse of dream realms, and this stone held the power over all of it, which Bowser gained access to after he inhaled the fragments, creating Dreamy Bowser.
And yet, with all the power, Bowser still dropped the ball. I don't think it's anything to do with prophecies about Star Titans this time. I think Bowser's just a bit thick in the head.
Well, yes and no. While he is a genius in his own right to come up with all his schemes, sciences, and spells, he's very prone to plot-induced stupidity and sometimes just plain idiocy. And it certainly doesn't help that he gets blinded by rage and arrogance more often than not.
Yeah, just because it looks cool to have your head sticking out of your flying clown car, where it can be hit or can crush the bricks over a giant bottomless pit, doesn't mean you should, man. Dude, think for once.
Thankfully, he does every once in a while, which sometimes leads him to making the smart decision of working with those he's sworn to eternally hate. Classic enemy my enemy type deal. And ironically enough, he's saved the Mushroom Kingdom just as many times he's tried to conquer it.
He's outright helped Mario and friends fight off fiends like Smithy, Count Black, and Dementio. It was pretty much the main hero when the Dark Star awoke from his slumber and attempted to consume the entire Mario universe in darkness. I mean, man, he even traded blows with a dark version of himself that he created. It was just as strong as he was.
And through it all, one can garner a potential insight over the Koopa King that he keeps well hidden behind all those evil schemes and villainous ambitions. That being, he's not actually a bad guy. Sure, he might have started off with some concrete intentions, but some evidence says otherwise.
Like getting together with his arch enemies on a regular basis to play various sports and drive go-karts. Of course, I still have some questions, like, why do you need these giant claws to play soccer? But at this point, I'm not sure Mario even considers him as an enemy anymore. He's just like that friend you had from college who's nice, but also a little crazy and gets drunk and falls in your pool.
He's also the father to 8 children nonetheless: Larry, Morton, Wendy, Iggy, Roy, Lemmy, Ludwig, and Bowser Jr. Although he's teaching them kind of to be the heirs to his villainous empire, there's nothing to suggest he's a bad father. In fact, there's a lot to suggest quite the opposite.
Huh, look at that. Bowser's got it where it counts. Until he doesn't again. got a lot of status quos.
Well, regardless of that, the Koopa King is a true force to be reckoned with, and mercy be with whomever has stirred his ire, because the wrath of Bowser is fury incarnate. As the smoke rose in the air of the skies of World 8, Bowser Koopa stood on the bridge of his personal airship. Today was finally the day he gathered enough forces and powers to finally achieve his goal of taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. Nothing was going to stop him. Not Mario, not Luigi, not Toad, and most certainly not Princess Peach, who would finally be forced to acknowledge his awesomeness. It was perfect. His armies were built better than ever, with recruits from all corners of the universe coming to aid his cause. After all, they all had common goal to vanquish a single enemy. Why not make it a little easier? The fleet left Bowser's home country and kept going until it reached the desert world before Peach's front lawn itself. The Koopa King smiled as he sat down on his mobile throne, imagining to himself how the real thing would feel situated in Peach's throne room. Or maybe he'd just keep his own castle and relocate the Mushroom Kingdom's borders. Or perhaps it was time for Mood-Grieg to finally move out and have his own castle. There was a menagerie of options to go, and all of it was... Bowser shouted as he was flung from his chair.
Hey, you fools! What gives?
My lord,
A Koopa said as he came to his leader.
we stopped movement of the blockade because there are some obstacles.
What obstacles?
Bowser roared.
I told you to stop at nothing, so what gives?
Perhaps you should see for yourself, my lord.
Kamek told his king. Bowser sighed. He would have all their heads if this wasn't important. Out he went from his bridge onto the deck where a surprising sight was waiting for him.
What is this?
Before him was a swarm of robots decked in green and dark gray. It was large enough to match his own forces, and indeed warranted a full stop. Not that it made Bowser any happier, though. He wanted to know who had the gall to stand in his way.
Who dares stand before me? Who dares block Bowser on his day of conquest? I do!
Before the Koopa King stood a man resembling the robots. He wore green cloaks covering gunmetal gray armor. He looked like one of the knights from that insipid world Mario came from, and it covered him from head to toe. And on his face was a mask in the vague countenance of a human as well, with view screens projecting the image of this fool's eyes for Bowser to see.
Who are you?
Bowser asked with clenched fists.
I am Doom, ruler of Latveria, and I presume you are Bowser Koopa, ruler of the Fiery World 8.
You presume correct. I am Bowser, ruler of World 8 and soon to be ruler of the entire Mushroom Kingdom. What do you want?
It's quite simple. You see, I have been spying on your world for some time, as it has been acquiring quite the increase in power lately. Doom has decided that this power would benefit in other hands, mainly my own. So I have come to claim them. Toot sweet.
Bowser didn't respond, only raising an eyebrow with seeming confusion.
I have come to take your power. Surrender now and you shall be spared a painful fate.
This, Bowser understood, but when it registered, an expression other than what Doom was expecting crossed the king's face. Instead of growing feeble and complying, Bowser gained a smirk of evil on his face and chuckled.
Do you find this amusing? Are you not aware of what is happening? Of whom you are laughing?
You must not know who you are talking to if you think I'm gonna hand over all this to you so easily.
You'd be wise to do so. Surely with this force assembled before you, you understand and fear the might of Dr. Doom!
Bowser nodded his head and kept smiling. This masked fool asked too much, and this was his answer.
I do not.
Instantly, Doom flew back and gave the order for his forces to attack. Bowser did the same and gave his fleet new instructions.
All battle cruisers attack this fool and destroy him!
The order was carried out and the war began.
Wretched fool! You will feel my wrath! Foot dive!
Bowser growled as he leapt off his ship and collided his fists with Doom's feet. They did not break, instead knocking the two back as their forces began to battle. Doombots clashed with Paracoopas while the other two monarchs battled in the center. Bowser and Doom clashed and crashed into one another as they flew through the sky. Victor using his power suit to pirouette and Bowser a magic leaf. They met fist to fist and grappled, each time Doom meeting quite a surprise. Bowser, was much stronger than he anticipated. Doom shouted he was blasted away with one good decking from the Koopa King.
Your strength is formidable, Bowser, that I commend you with, but I am not without my own devices.
And with that, Bowser's next blows met the force field of Doom and simply bounced off. No hit, slash, or tackle would budge the barrier, allowing Doom to simply stand there and decipher what Bowser had up his sleeve.
Your tricks are over, Bowser Koopa.
He said while commanding a fleet of Doom bots to fly behind him.
Fly amongst the eagles no more.
The bots opened fire at that order, hitting Bowser from behind. It melted his raccoon tail clean off and sent him plummeting to the ground. Bowser screamed as he crashed against the sand with a mighty thud.
Grovel beneath me.
Never!
Bowser shouted in return before unleashing his fiery breath. The flames hit Doom's shield and wrapped themselves around it, covering Doom in a sphere of fire. Yet, that wasn't enough, and Doom laughed at the futility.
Ha 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 ha. Did you possibly think that your flames would make it through where your fists could not?
No,
Bowser said from behind Doom, catching him by total surprise.
but I knew it would give me enough cover to do this!
The ruler of that area turned around at the last moment to see Bowser holding a superstar clutched in his fist. It broke through Doom's shield, simply bypassing its might, and allowed Bowser to punch Doom straight in the chest. He fell to the ground and was followed by Bowser, who body-slammed him for his troubles.
Now let's settle this like kings!
The Koopa ruler roared as he prepared his fist for battle.
Very well.
Doom said as he threw his cape behind him.
I shall acknowledge your request, only to make you live long enough to regret challenging Victor Varda!
You talk too much!
Bowser laughed as he laid haymakers into Doom before he finished speaking. The evil doctor recovered, however, just as quick and went on an offensive of his own. Landing several powerful hits, he beat Bowser around before blasting him with his energy gauntlets. The Koopa King landed hard and he wasn't getting up quickly.
What a farce! Now to end this charade!
He then looked to his gauntlet and went through various ways he could end Bowser's life. So many choices, so little time. It was such a difficult choice to... Doom shouted as he was blasted with bolts of energy from a group of Maggie Koopas.
What is this folly?
Protect His Majesty! The wizard turtles cried as they hit Doom with their volleys, buying Bowser some time to recover.
This foolish assault
Doom growled as he began absorbing their magic blasts.
will not stop Doom! All you do is incur his wrath!
And with that, Doom returned their energy and disintegrated the Maggie Koopas in one blast. Their nuisance was over, and now it was time to get back to more important matters.
Bowser, where have you gone? Come out and face me, fiend!
With pleasure, Buckethead!
Doom turned and immediately regretted not being more aware, as the spiked carapace of Bowser smashed into him and sent him flying like a stone on a lake. He used the distraction of his mages to summon the Shy Guy Squad, and their work was well paid off.
Feeling like calling quits yet?
Bowser laughed as he stood above the fallen Doom.
Not in the slightest!
Victor said as he pressed a button on his wrist.
For you are not the only one with minions!
At that moment, Bowser's next punch was stopped by 1,000 Doombots who flew down and swarmed him like a mini Goomba swarm on Mario. He couldn't move without one resisting him, and was helpless to watch as Doom stood up and laughed.
Mwahaha! Got you!
Dr. Doom then extended his hand and blasted Bowser with 1,000 volts of powerful electricity. He screamed in pain as they jolted through his entire being until eventually there was no more tolerance. Bowser roared and began glowing red as he used his rage power-up, bashing anything in his path. All Doombots before him were ripped to pieces, and Victor himself was slammed by the cape over and over again before Bowser threw one good wind-up punch that sent him flying into his own battalion, destroying the Doombots.
I will burn you to ashes!
Bowser screamed as he powered up his fire breath and blasted his scream directly at Doom. The monarch of Latveria saw it coming and rushed away, letting whatever Doombots behind him suffer a fate he was intended for. Bowser carved a swath through them before running out of breath, which is when Doom decided to jump back in and use his nerve-scrambling ray to knock Bowser to the ground.
Now you are defeated! I shall cut off your defenseless head and mount it on my wall!
The evil doctor drew out a sword and raised his blade to strike until he was forced to use it on other things. Bullet bills and bombs began raining down towards him. Doom growled at the surrounding airships and cursed them as they kept him from his prize. They would not keep him for long.
Enough of this!
He roared as he raised his blade to the sky.
Let the thunders of the heavens sort you out and be gone!
His command was followed by a boom in the air as lightning began crackling through. Doom aimed his sword and ordered the airship to be smote by their power. And they were. The giant craft fell to the ground and Doom laughed at his triumph, until a few dozen hammers bonked it back to reality.
Hey!
Bowser shouted as he began hurtling hammers like no one's business.
I still had deposits on those things!
Doom screamed in anger as he began slicing hammers away, then charging to skewer Bowser on the blade. But the Koopa King had other ideas and grabbed it from his grasp, transmutating it into a snake.
So you are a practitioner of the mystic arts.
I am.
Bowser said as he waved his hand, performing some kind of magic.
Now let's see you get past that.
You surely jest.
Doom laughed as he started walking forward.
The power of Doom is leagues above your petty sorcery. And what?
Victor looked down and gasped. He'd taken at least 10 steps, but yet he hadn't moved an inch. He looked back up and saw Bowser laughing at his plight.
What have you done?
Doom yelled as he dashed forth, continuing to remain right where he was.
What is this devilry?
Usually I save that for when someone's on the stairs, but this'll have to do.
And so Doom continued his struggle. Running, dashing, flying, it mattered not. He was stuck in place, cursing the turtle tyrant that stood before him.
You wretch! I shall be free of this!
Sure you will.
Bowser laughed as he powered up his fire and summoned all the Doombot's remains to a giant boulder to crush his foe.
Freedom via death! Ha!
The molten spear crashed and exploded, spewing destroyed robot pieces and what Bowser expected to be Dr. Doom's crushed remains. Except it wasn't. He was nowhere to be found.
Oh, come on! Now where'd he go?
Here!
Doom shouted as he appeared from the sky and cast his own spells.
Crimson Bands of Sidorak!
The incantations summoned forth the red snares and trapped Bowser within their grasp. Try as he might, Bowser was stuck in Doom's grip and subject to his mercy.
How did you break my spell? Nobody breaks my spells!
The doctor laughed as he gripped his fist, tightening the bands and simply said,
Doom does as he pleases.
That did it for Bowser. Before, it was just a contest of rulers battling it out. Now, it was getting personally annoying. Teleporting out of the bands, Bowser appeared beside Doom and began hitting him with all his might. Victor tried throwing him his shields, but they weren't fast enough, and the first few blows sent Doom flying. He eventually regained his composure, but there was hardly enough time to think now. Doom needed this knowledge, and he needed it 10 minutes ago. But of course, that was it. Why couldn't he do such things? He would. No more delays.
See you in the past, brute.
Doom laughed as he transferred his conscience back into the past in an earlier time during the fight.
Much.
However, the fist was caught much earlier than Bowser expected, and Doom retaliated with powerful attacks of all kinds that sent Bowser flying about. A power punch sent him into the air, followed by a triple foot dive attack. Then, before Bowser bounced too far, Doom used magic to call him back and blasted him with a powerful energy burst. It created a large crater into which Bowser fell, and Doom stared into with zero remorse.
As I said before,
He said while priming another of his devices.
this farce is over!
And with that, Doom used his molecular expander to fill the hole with enough rubble to bury a large town. Bowser screamed as he rushed it through it, but in the end, only his hand made it out to show.
Bah! Too easy.
But as the Latvian monarch called, his wind soured as the hand of Bowser summoned forth something, a golden star larger than Doom himself, radiating power like an entire universe, and all of it went into the ground, reviving Bowser once again.
Oh yeah.
He laughed while grabbing Doom by the face.
Now you're in trouble, buddy. Face the power of Bowser!
The Koopa King then proceeded to deck Victor with the force of his newly found strength, and sent him hurtling through the air, only to teleport where he would be arriving and then punched him back down to Earth.
That power!
What is it? Ironically, you're Doom.
Bowser laughed as he raised a foot to stomp Victor into a paste.
Never!
The evil doctor shouted as he reached up and activated a device in his suit. Bowser looked in confusion for a second before screaming as he felt all his power, all his energy leave his body. Like air let out of a balloon, Bowser deflated and watched all his strength find its way into the clutches of Victor Von Doom.
How marvelous!
He laughed while feeling the cosmic energies flow through him.
This puts the power of the Zephyr to shame!
Bowser roared as he tried to stand, but Doom simply blasted him with the Grand Star energies and sent the Koopa King flying into his ground ships. But it wasn't over yet.
Behold,
Bowser shouted as he re-emerged.
I may have lost that power, but now you shall face the might of the Star Rod and all its squish-granny.
Yes! Yes!
Dr. Doom chuckled as he stole that away as well.
I do feel the ability to grant my every wish.
Bowser growled and stomped his foot. This was unbelievable.
Minions, hand me the Dark Star capsule.
They did as commanded, and Bowser activated it, only for Doom to swipe that too.
The Purity Hearts.
It met the same fate.
No, that's impossible. You're impossible.
Guilty as charged. Now shall we continue?
Bowser bore his teeth as he took the last artifact and crushed it within himself. The power spread through him and transformed his body. He felt this power grow until he was capable of reaching out for anything he wanted, even dreams. But for Doom, it was about to be his worst nightmare.
Take this!
Bowser shouted as he extended his palm, firing forth a dreaming spiral of destruction.
Doom invites it!
Victor replied as he fired his own beam. Surprisingly, the power of the Dreamy Stone overtook Doom's and consumed him over. But it mattered not, for as long as Doom was connected with the power, he could steal it. And so he did.
This can't be happening!
Bowser wailed in despair.
But it is!
Dr. Doom boasted as he flew towards Bowser and grabbed him.
You have no hope! Mwahahaha!
Doom then threw the Koopa King and began to spin him by his tail. Around and around they went until finally Doom released his foe, who flew into his own lead airship, destroying it with an explosion. The massive vessel crashed down and sent debris flying everywhere. And with its fall came the crippling of Bowser's fleet. His invasion wouldn't be doing much without its spearhead to lead the way.
Pathetic!
Dr. Doom says he landed before the wreckage.
You are beaten! Your ships are destroyed! Your minions are defeated! And your power is mine! What have you now, wretch?
There was no answer for several seconds. But then, something came from the rubble. Something that made Doom very wary. Doom gasped under his mask as he watched the Colossus before him emerge. It was Bowser, but it was not. His yellow skin was now coal black and dripped with some kind of ooze, while his hair was on fire and his spikes extended to large, piercing thorns. This was no longer Bowser the Koopa King. This was something else. Something bestial. It opened its mouth and let out a roar, one which Doom took as a call to battle. Summoning forth, he fired his new energy and hit Bowser in the face, only for the monster he had become to begin this new onslaught. The light of the sun disappeared beneath the clouds, and Doom felt the very world around him turn to do him harm. He pivoted and shot around and around, trying to bring down this towering kaiju before him, but to no avail. The shadows leapt up to attack Victor, and Bowser was there when he freed himself from them. There was no escape. Eventually, he got caught in the way of a massive black fist and tried to repel it, only for the fury of Bowser to take him down to the ground with a thud that drew everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom to look what was going on. It was not a sight any of them found comfort in seeing. Doom rose to his hands and knees before feeling the impending shadow of another fall over him. However, this time he was ready with a force field and caught it just in time. He saved himself from becoming goo now, but Bowser wasn't finished. Repeatedly, he rained blows down on the Latverian king and was nearly breaking through. And one final punch did just that. Doom was on his back and breathing quite uneasy now.
This is madness.
He gasped while rising to his knee and looking up.
You have gone this far to defeat me?
I'll do what I must. Now instead, beg for your life.
That struck a chord in Victor. Whatever fear he was feeling now, it was to be put aside. Injuries of the flesh he could handle, but insults to his pride no less, that was a different story.
Beg? Beg? Doom does not beg!
Bowser nodded at that and opened his mouth to unleash a beam of the most insane of flames. They struck Doom head on, and he screamed as the fire burned through him, but he never surrendered. He flew faithfully and entered the Maw of the Beast, not backing down in the slightest. And from the view of the Mushroom Kingdom, a great light exploded on the horizon, one that turned all of World 2 to glass. Mamma mia! Mario cried as he watched it happen, but as the light dimmed, there was a single shine that didn't stop. Instead, it separated from the rest and cruised on towards the castle itself, only dimming once it had an audience with the princess.
Princess Peach,
A weary voice said as the being landed before her and the others.
I am Victor Von Doom, new ruler of this kingdom. You may count this as my claim.
And from his flaming cloak, he threw the skeletal remains of once Bowser Koopa. He was dead. Obliterated.
He contested my rule,
Doom said while raising a boot which then crushed the Koopa skull.
and he failed.
Oh boy, looks like the next Mario game is going to be even harder now. Shoot.
Both Bowser and Doom were powerful tyrants with so many tricks to pull out that it was quite an interesting match to figure out. They both possessed godlike strength and a ton of hacks to counter each other's movesets.
Of course, there were some things that one was better at than the other, like how Bowser had the gold when it came to physical strength. Sure, Doom's traded blows with guys like Hulk, Thor, Thing, and Sentry, but it was hardly even, and he didn't even come out of those things unscathed.
Doom could trade blows even with Iron Man, whose older armors could slam into a giant rock the size of Manhattan. Impressive, but against Bowser scaling to Donkey Kong's Moon Punch, it wasn't exactly as even as the Doctor would like. Similarly, Bowser survived enough cosmic explosions that a bit of Doom's own firepower wasn't going to do much damage either.
Of course, Bowser was kinda in the same boat when Doom broke out that force field. Not even Celestials can break that thing, and even the Infinity Gauntlet left Doom alive after it overcame it. So there was that too.
They also had similar speeds, with both reaching the speed of light and sometimes surpassing it under certain circumstances. And with such even stats across the board, it means we had to look into the hacks to find the difference makers.
And trust us, we did, starting off with their abracadabra powers. While both of them are pretty accomplished mystics, Doom's just in a league of his own magic. Sure, Bowser can cast curses over the entire Mushroom Kingdom and lock away Princess Peach, but Doom has Morgan Le Fay and Doctor Strange's numbers, and he's defeated the Ghost Rider.
Plus, even if Bowser could overpower him, he'd have to contend with Doom's protection, particularly his cross splinter, which nullifies anything Bowser had to throw Doom's way.
Yeah, Thick had enough prep to keep Bowser on the ropes. Even his cheating didn't help, since Doom cheats too. But even better, that siphon is no joke. If it can take the powers of the Beyonder himself, what's a Grand Star or even a Dreamy Stone gonna do?
And with the cards now in place, it was clear Bowser didn't have much to throw at Doom that the ruler of Latveria couldn't match, beat, or steal if it came down to it, leading Victor being the victor.
And even if he didn't have this suit, Doom could still swipe those powers with his magic, like he did with Scarlet Witch. Doom takes what he wants when he wants it. Period.
The Koopa King put up a good fight, but in the end he was outsmarted, out-hacked, and outdone by Latveria's own Armored Emperor.
Looks like the doctor gave Bowser a prescription of doom.
The winner is Dr. Doom.